All right, folks, here we are, WACW, inside the parks with Braden T and Kleinstein and
What's
friends.
happening?
But today we have Kleinstein, just the original two, baby.
That's
just
right.
the two.
That's right.
Just the two of us.
Back and in full effect.
Here we go. So, as we always do, we're going to talk about NFL Week 10. Well, Week 10, I would say, is the week of upsets, a.k.a. week of upsets. There were about three or four major upsets this week alone. And we're going to talk about the first one. This upset has not happened since I was 1 year old. 1991. It was the last time the Detroit Lions beat Green Bay in Lambeau.
Yes.
And
to put it in perspective,
yeah.
So Barry Sanders was doing his thing at that point. So that automatically dates it. And then Brett Favre was not even in Green Bay yet. In fact, he was with Atlanta.
Which no one even remembers.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was in Atlanta either. I don't think anyone does.
Yep, he was down in Atlanta. So it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. It was, and it's funny because towards the end of the game, Detroit, like always, tries to cough it up because they're Detroit. It was an 18-16 game. It was a terrible game. What's impressive to me about Aaron Rodgers, I'm still an Aaron Rodgers. I love him. He's awesome. He's still awesome. Even when he loses, he's awesome. This game wasn't too awesome for him, but he doesn't throw interceptions. Even in his worst games, he doesn't throw picks because he's just a smart quarterback. People like Matt Stafford, Jake Cutler, they're throwing, in their worst games, they're throwing 2, 3, 4 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers, his worst games come down to the last back-to-back games. There's Carolina Panthers last week, and Detroit this week came down once again to the fourth quarter.
Yep. I mean, and Rodgers' numbers weren't terrible. I mean,
he threw a lot, and
he had 333 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Well, he threw 61 times. That's like Philip Rivers. That's Philip Rivers numbers.
And they should have been. I gotta wonder. They had some luck with Starks in the past. I know Lacey's not there. But these teams sometimes they'll abandon the running game, and the team if you look, the teams that abandon the running game completely are teams that are floundering right now. No doubt. They're not doing well, and just because Lacey's not there, you got to find a way to move the ball down the field.
And once again, the last two games, if you're a Green Bay Packers fan, the last 3 games have been difficult because they were 6-0 to start the season.
Yeah,
and they've lost three in a row. And they lost to 2 perfect teams at the time. Broncos were perfect, and Cam Newton and the Panthers are still perfect.
Yeah.
We'll get to that game later. But this week, this was supposed to be a 40-10 win for the Green Bay Packers. Yeah. Because as we said, it's been 24 years, 23 seasons that this has not happened. Which
is a nice storyline.
It's a great storyline, but it's sad for Packers fans, which I am indeed. I'm not a diehard Packers fan, but I have some of my best friends are Packers fans, and I've been adopted into the Packer fold. So and they're not. It's not really a bandwagon because it's not like the Patriots where they're winning Super Bowls every couple years.
Definitely not.
Yeah, definitely not. So, and I think they've only won 1 or 2 since they've had Aaron Rodgers, anyways. I know the Steelers win, and I don't even remember the last time they won, but I know the Steelers my freshman year of college, but which I think it was 2010 to 2011. Yeah. But no, and once again, what's been crazy about these games they've been losing, especially the last 2 versus Panthers and this week versus Detroit. Green Bay's been down big going in the fourth quarter. I mean, they were down 12-3 in the last 8 minutes of the game. 12-3.
Yeah.
And so they score 13 points in less than 8 minutes. That's impressive.
Absolutely.
No doubt. Absolutely. And so Aaron Rodgers and folk need to step it up in the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, I was about to go through the roof in the Panthers game.
Yeah.
Because I put a lot of that on the Panthers, honestly, because they didn't keep their foot on the gas, which hopefully they're learning from.
Yeah.
Like they abandoned their game plan and they started on defense. They were falling back into more of a zone coverage instead of challenging them, playing more of a press coverage. They let them come back in that one. I think the Panthers should have, and will in the future crush their opponents.
Yeah.
But,
Well, they did this week, but it was Tennessee Titans. But so that's not, you got to do
any given Sunday.
You got yeah, exactly. That's what this week is all about.
But that whole division now, though, is up for grabs. I mean,
The Vikings,
now the Vikings,
7-2 Vikings. They're playing this week, and we'll get to that.
And
too.
they look like a scary team.
They are a scary team. I would say Terry Bridgewater, that's not an elite quarterback, is the sneakiest, quietest quarterback.
Yeah,
because
Teddy Bridgewater's. I agree. He's sneaky in that. He's off the radar.
Yeah, he's off the radar, and that's great for him because he's not Mark Sanchez.
Although
a couple
he
years
did
in
go to
Jets.
sleep just recently. Do you remember that headshot he took? He got that hit, man. He was asleep.
Yeah,
on
concussion.
The turf.
That was rough,
Completely
man. And they
asleep.
didn't think he was going to even play the game.
Yeah,
so
well, I was surprised that he
scary.
made it through the protocol
That's
to
scary.
come back in. But
and it's nice to have Adrian Peterson as your running back. That's always nice. It's always nice to have that, and a great defense. And the Minnesota Vikings are just not talked about, and they love
they're
that.
Not. No, it's good. I
good
wish
for them.
I liked it when the Panthers weren't in the spotlight.
And that's how I bet a lot of Bengals fans feel. And always every year the Patriots are there just because they're the Patriots.
Yeah.
So,
but just a couple weeks ago, just literally a couple weeks ago, you had Green Bay undefeated.
Broncos.
You had Atlanta undefeated. You had the Broncos undefeated. They were all undefeated along with the Panthers. And those
Patriots
two
and
especially, though actually all three of them, Green Bay, there's been a fall from grace, and you got to wonder if they're going to correct it. I really hope they do. I hope that they because I like competitive, good teams to be in there, and I like it at the end of the season. The best teams are playing together. It makes for good football.
And it's nice to have Aaron Rodgers because he was the MVP last year. There's a debate between J.J. Watt and his amazing defense last year and Aaron Rodgers. And let's just face it, defensive players never win the MVP. They'll always go to a quarterback, a running back, wide receiver. It just does. We live in an offensive world.
It's just wild to me, though, that these teams have these drastic changes this far. So the Falcons as well. They've lost 3 in a row now.
Well, and the Broncos haven't looked – we'll get to that game, but they haven't looked good either. Arguably, they haven't looked really good offensively all year.
No, they haven't, and their defense isn't doing it like it was. The past 2 weeks, their defense has been a little less.
Look, it's both losses.
Yeah,
and they've relied on their defense so much. Now that the defense is playing mediocre, mediocre, they're losing games, and
that's one of the saddest stories in the NFL too. If you ask me, the decline of Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
and to see a guy who I idolized growing up, and you always, it's one of those things, it's going to come to this point someday.
Yeah.
But with a guy like Peyton Manning,
you
never know when. Because he's, a couple years ago with the neck injury, they're like, oh, he's done for. Nope, he came back and made it to a Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. Crushed, but
and he played, but he's been playing lights out for the past couple years, and then this year, just out of the blue, it's like bam.
Yeah.
And
he had one good game, ironically, versus Green Bay.
Yeah. But to see, I never thought I would see the day that Peyton Manning is benched.
Yeah.
For a guy like, what is it, Brock Osweiler?
Yeah, Brock Osweiler.
Yeah, no disrespect to Brock Osweiler, but it's Peyton Manning. You just don't ever see him getting benched, and I hate that.
Yeah, and we're gonna stick with going back to Green Bay really quick, and then we'll jump right into that Broncos game. But I think in this game, Matt Stafford actually looked at times better than Aaron Rodgers, and that's crazy to say, but he really did.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns,
and
242 yards. And they only threw the ball
38 times.
38 times.
Yeah. So and then Calvin Johnson is. He's not Megatron. He's Megatron, but he's not Megatron.
Yeah, how about that onside kick that he did not?
Yeah, boggles and fumbles.
Gosh,
and that it almost cost him the game.
It almost did. He got lucky in that one.
That's what I'm saying. Detroit tried to lose this game almost every 5 seconds.
It's almost like the gods of football are fighting against the Packers right now, though, because that kick by Mason Crosby would have gone.
Perfect.
It was. It looked like it was blocked. I thought it. I honestly, no, it wasn't. No, nobody touched it. It wasn't blocked. No, it was not blocked. It looked like it was. They thought that it was either a misstep or a mishold. That's all it was.
It looked like a block.
Yeah, because it goes up and it kind of just goes, but it was just a bad snap and a bad hold somewhere in that laces out Dan.
Yeah, yes,
kind of scenario. Something happened there that just it was just one of the ugliest kicks in history, and that's why I say it's like the gods of football just blew it down.
Yeah.
Nope, not gonna make it, guys.
Not today.
Oh man.
So they've had they looked like the best team in the NFL, and now they look offensively they look atrocious, which is sad to say because Aaron Rodgers is reigning MVP and stuff like that.
Well, they're not healthy. When you lose a lot of your offensive weapons.
Jordy Nelson, even before the
Jordy Nelson is
season
gone.
began.
Cobb is looking really slow.
And Lacey's out.
Yeah, Lacey's out. I mean, they are losing a lot of weapons, but, you got to find ways to win. Even the Panthers have lost, some weapons throughout the year. All things considered, I'm knocking on wood here.
Yeah.
We're relatively healthy right now. But we did lose Kelvin Benjamin, who could have had he had a breakout season his rookie year. Who knows what he could have done this year? But anyway,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna, like Kleinstein just talked about, we're gonna talk about the Broncos. And as we said, I think they haven't really looked impressive all year round, but they were 7-0 because of their defense. Because their defense was amazing. Because their defense was arguably, maybe better, but right up with the Legion of Boom a couple years back.
Oh,
they really, they had
great.
almost a pick six every week. For the first 5 weeks. They had almost a pick six every week, and it's like you can't lose.
There's people whose fantasy teams were just
devastated,
cleaning up. Well, they were cleaning up with this Broncos defense going nuts, scoring 20 points plus.
And now in the last two games, and it's funny because Peyton's has since being on the Broncos has struggled with the Colts.
Yeah.
And they have a terrible defense.
Well, the Chiefs, though, I did not expect the Chiefs to beat them that handily this weekend. I did not expect it at all.
I would say this is the worst game Peyton Manning's ever played because
it is the worst game he's ever played.
Not only was he benched, as Kleinstein said earlier, his numbers, he threw 4 interceptions on a day where he beats Brett Favre's all-time leading throwing yards record, which is more than impressive. You got to give it to him. He's amazing. The guy is a class act. Even Brett Favre's like, if anyone's gonna beat me, I want it this guy because this guy's a class act.
Man, but the 4 picks aren't even as telling as sometimes people have 4 picks, but they'll have 400 yards. Yeah. He had 35 yards,
and he was 5 for 20.
5 for 20,
and this is just terrible. And he was benched.
Sad. And the telling thing is that Osweiler came in, was 14 of 12, but he was 14 of 24, 146 yards and a touchdown. Immensely better. Yeah. To the point of where I don't even know, if I want to play Demaryius Thomas now in my fantasy league, he was always a starter. It was it was absolute. You're going to play. Last year, he was the number 1 receiver.
That and Emmanuel Saunders.
Yeah. So you don't. Do I play those guys? I'm not going to play him. I'm actually going to bench Demaryius Thomas this weekend in lieu of T.Y. Hilton. Yeah. And see if T.Y. can come in and do his thing. Yeah. I don't know, but I just.
There's just been big injuries this year, and they say he's hurt, so he wasn't benched 100% because of his his playing.
To make that clear.
Yeah, he was injured. He did play injured. He's Peyton Manning. He'll play.
He's got plantar fasciitis, which is if you don't know, if anybody doesn't know what it is, it's a tear to the ligament, the plantar fascial ligament in the bottom of your foot. Not only is it a serious injury, it's very painful, but it's a lingering thing. They say, hey, it's not a season-ending thing. If he comes back this year, I'd be surprised just because, if he does, he won't be 100%. Those can linger for months, for even a year, depending on the type of treatment you get. And he's a big guy.
But he's essentially 40 years old. And he's playing NFL and his offensive line. He's been hit. And that's the biggest thing.
Goodness.
If he was getting protection, we wouldn't be. I don't think we'd be having this conversation.
Well,
but his protection
you gotta protect a quarterback, and they put all this time and all this money into their defense. And they really, really needed a good offensive line for him. And,
he's got 17 interceptions, maybe, second in the league in sacked. Yeah. He's 39, 40 years old. And this is not healthy. It's just not good for him. But he'll play until he's a Brett Favre type guy. All he wants to do is play football because that's all he's ever known.
It looks like that they had 5 sacks on him. You know? When you're sacking a quarterback 5 times,
and this is game in, game out.
Yeah,
this is not
five sacks is a lot, and that's painful for a guy like that.
No doubt.
He's already beat up And then just to add that to boot. But the whole thing, it's just tragic. I mean, it's that day that nobody wanted to see come. And I honestly, I think that this is the last we're going to see of him. I don't see him coming back next year. As unfortunate as that is.
He might be a free agent and someone desperate might pick him up. But
I think the thing about it, I hope not, because like with Brett Favre, his whole thing, it just was a media frenzy and it was a joke.
Well,
and by the
he
end
played
of it,
well for the Vikings.
But it was like, is he going to retire? Or is he going to come back?
But he was one step from taking the Vikings to the Super Bowl. Like, let's just.
He played well for the Vikings, but it was after that when he was still. Yeah, he was back and forth, and it got to a point. It was like just retire already.
It's tough, but it really is. You do something your entire life, and you're forced. Essentially said, okay, you can't play anymore.
So is Brock Osweiler the guy? Is he okay? He's been groomed behind Peyton,
which is nice.
So, and for 1.5 quarters, he wasn't bad. And he's got 146 yards and a touchdown and interception. So, it's like and he was a second-round pick, if I'm not mistaken. So he wasn't just some guy they picked up.
Schmo.
Yeah, he wasn't undrafted or some guy in the 6th round like Tom Brady.
Matt Castle.
Not saying you can't get somebody good in the 6th round, but generally you put a second-round pick in on somebody, that's potential for a future, franchise quarterback. So it's like I remember Aaron Rodgers, for example. When Brett Favre was doing his thing, Aaron Rodgers was an afterthought, and people didn't want to get rid of Brett Favre. It's like, oh, no, you can't get rid of Brett Favre. What are they going to do? Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be able to step up and do this. And obviously he did, but he had that time behind one of the all-time best quarterbacks in history to grow. And I'm wondering if a guy like, Osweiler has taken that full advantage of that time. And I imagine he has. I mean, I can assure you these guys, if they know they're playing with Peyton Manning, one of the best, if not the best quarterback in history, at least, regular season quarterback.
Really, arguably.
You're gonna let him mentor you, and hopefully, you take full advantage of that. So I'm interested to see what happens with Brock Osweiler this next week when he plays. And I'm probably going to be mad at myself and kick myself for benching Demaryius Thomas like I was for benching Charkandrick West
that's ridiculous.
This weekend, who I benched. And I also benched LaShawn McCoy.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah. But that's, but I still won this week. Hey, that's a storyline that nobody cares about but me. I moved from last in my league, right?
Yeah.
I was last. Now in my division within the league, I'm moving up. I'm in 4th out of 5.
Oh, there you go.
But check it out. I'm 1 game behind.
The leading?
1 game behind second place.
Okay,
that's
great.
all I got to get.
Yeah.
All right.
Just get to the playoffs, baby.
All right, and I'm poised because I've been so crappy that I've managed to pick up some really good people in free agency.
That's awesome.
Although one of them, D'Angelo Williams, kind of I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But so I've got a chance this week. I'm playing the number 1 guy in the league.
Yep.
All right, so that's a bummer.
Who's his quarterback?
But
do you know?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, okay.
But here's the thing. He's been killing it with Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Actually, last week he started Antonio Brown and who's the other receiver for the younger guy for Pittsburgh? I can't remember his name. But anyway, so he started 2 Pittsburgh receivers, and they each went up big double digits. So, but they're on a bye this week. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to come in this week. I'm going to wreck shop. I'm going to beat him. The other guys are going to lose. I'm going to move into 2nd place. Done deal. Kleinstein's going to win his fantasy league again this year. Bold prediction, folks. I'm going to win my fantasy league this year. I've got a huge trophy in my office. I'm going to keep that one.
It's funny talking fantasy. I have just moved into the number 1 place in our league with the win, the big win because of Cam. Pretty much because of Cam Newton. You've
got a good team. You had a good trade this weekend.
I did.
Don't feel bad that Langford had such a good game.
You know what? I'm not too worried.
Forte's going to come back.
I have so many running backs. Let me just talk who I have. I have McFadden. I got Devontae Freeman off the waiver wire.
And you've got LaShawn McCoy in this trade.
And Danny Woodhead, who has got 100. I know you love.
Great team.
I know, and I just got Shady.
Yeah, you've got an incredible team. So with those 3 running, do you mix up some of those
Ryan
running
Matthews
backs?
and Ryan Matthews.
He's the worst of what you got.
Yeah,
but you got two. You got 3 RB1s.
Yeah.
So you're going to be putting up double digits in 3 places, which is what's happening to me now too, because I have LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah.
I have D'Angelo Williams.
Yep.
I've got Darren McFadden.
Yep.
I've got
he's come alive. Too.
He's
It's
come
great.
alive, and he's going to get better. Actually,
Yeah.
they just cut Christian Michael down there too. They just cut him.
They just picked him up and then cut him.
Yeah, they cut him. So there's really nobody else but then on top of that, I've got Charkandrick West, who's putting up beastly numbers.
Kansas City's trying to make a move to the wild card.
But you know what? They're using him He's proven that not only can he run it, he can catch it.
Yeah.
And they're playing him just like they have been with Jamal Charles.
Yeah.
And he has stepped up and he's doing it. So, and I've got Carlos Williams too. I've got TJ Yeldon. I'm not worried about my backs. I got Demarius Thomas if Peyton hadn't floundered into obscurity.
Yeah.
I've got T.Y. Hilton. I've got the big guy Mike Evans, who's been having a couple serious good weeks.
Is he Tampa Bay?
Yeah, and he's been having some really good weeks. And I also, one of the big moves and one of the big success stories of the NFL this year is Carr.
Derek Carr?
Yeah, man. I picked up Carr off the waiver wire.
He could be a really big franchise quarterback. And the Oakland Raiders, they're not – I don't know if they're going to go to the playoffs this year, but next couple years –
they're going to be good as long as they don't do like a
who knows how long Charles Woodson's going to play too. So
yeah, but they're impressive. But anyway, he's helped my fantasy league out, as I'm sure he has a lot of people.
So when we return to our show, we're going to talk about Kleinstein's Carolina Panthers,
the one and only.
We're going to talk about the Eagles, and we'll move on to the game of the week, in my opinion, the Monday Night Football, which I was there, got back at 2:30 in the morning this morning, the Texans over the local Bengals.
I was rooting for you guys because there was one player on the Texans.
DeAndre Hopkins?
No. The Bengals receiver, I'm sorry. Not Marvin Jones, the other afterthought behind A.J. Green. Anyway, he was going to make or break my game, and thanks to you guys, you shut them down.
Yes, sir.
And I won my game.
So
thank you.
And we'll throw in some Giants-Patriots love as well, which is everyone's mad about that game. Patriots win. That's I hate it.
On Giants?
No, it's the refs. No, it's the refs, bro.
You can't. But still,
they
had
fall apart in the fourth
opportunities
quarter.
that they could have capitalized on. You cannot let a team like the Patriots hang around.
Yeah. So we'll be back, and the next song we got is Maroon 5 and Tangled.
All the things that I have done and said, and I don't know if it'll ever be okay to show my face around here. Sometimes I wonder if I disappear. Would you ever turn your head and look, see if I'm gone? 'Cause I fear there is nothing left to say to you that you want to hear. You wanna know, I think I should go. The things I've done are way too shameful. You're just innocent, a helpless victim of the spider's web, and I'm an insect, going after anything that I can get. So you better turn your head and run. And don't look back, 'cause I fear there is nothing left to say to you that you want to hear, that you want to know. I think I should go. The things I've done are way too shameful. And I've done you so wrong, treated you bad, strung you along. Oh, shame on myself. I don't know how I got so tangled. that you wanna hear, that you wanna know. I think I should go. There are things I've done, I'll wait too shameful. Oh, and I've done you so wrong, treated you bad, destroy you alone. Oh, shame on myself. I don't know how I got so tangled.
Online, streaming 24/7. WATW.
All right, folks, we are back with WACW. Inside the Parks with Braden, T, and Kleinstein friends, and it's only
right.
Kleinstein us tonight, folks. We're talking about Week 10 of the NFL, which I have coined the week of upsets. And almost upsets as well. Maybe just the what could have been as well.
People that they didn't
upset.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the two undefeated teams. Well, there's three undefeated teams, except one was beaten last night. But the now remaining, going to Week 11, undefeated teams, we have the Carolina Panthers, who played Tennessee Titans. And it was almost like you knew, you would hope that the Carolina Panthers are just going to essentially blow out the Titans, because the Titans.
They could have.
The Titans could have won. I mean, like, Marcus Mariota's not bad, but it's sort of like it would have been just like the Detroit and Green Bay game, where it was so disappointing that that the Panthers didn't win. And so,
well, they came in and really. Tennessee, credit to them, they made some really good adjustments. Yeah. And they shut us down offensively for a little bit.
I would say in the first, it was still a good game.
Well, the first quarter,
yeah.
it comes
first couple quarter.
Yeah, second quarter, they started it, but we still got a touchdown. But it was the end of second quarter. Really, the third quarter, they shut us down, right? Yeah. And we were not doing much of anything.
Yeah.
So they made some good adjustments, and I was worried about that. But our defense shut them down.
Yeah. Oh,
and
amazing.
they couldn't move the ball.
And here once again.
And then in the fourth quarter, obviously, we adjusted again and came back in and put up 10 points. So.
Yeah, which is always good to go in the fourth, because I think the last couple of weeks with the Colts and the Green Bay Panthers have struggled in the fourth quarters.
They have, and it was nice. It was nice to see them pull it out and see Jonathan Stewart, who runs better. It's funny. He honestly gets better as games progress. Like, he'll come in, he's not doing much. And the more you run him, the better he gets. And he is a beast. He wears down defenses.
Yeah, he's good. And not only is he good, but his quarterback's pretty good. I don't know if you know this guy named
shabby quarterback.
Cam Newton. Does anyone know Cam Newton?
I think everybody knows Cam Newton now. You know what I think was hilarious about this game? Did you watch the game all the way through, or did you watch any clips of it?
I got the highlights.
Okay, so there was at the end of it. Obviously, I watched it like a hawk, because I'm a freak. But so at the end of the game, Steve McNair, the one of the greats from Tennessee, his son is there on the sidelines in a Cam Newton jersey, getting Cam to autograph his stuff. And I was like, that just says a lot. Here's the thing. Cam Newton is a new face for a new generation of kids who want to play football, that aren't, he's just it's a new guy, and he's the next thing, and he's unconventional. People don't understand it. People love to hate him. He is a winner. I'll take him any day of the week. I mean, the guy's a winner. And the Panthers' offense is playing lights out now. They're dangerous. Finally, they are smash mouth. They can run it down your throat. They can run the option with Cam. They've got all their wide receivers are stepping up, making big plays. You've got Greg Olsen. And the coordinators, they're doing a really good job, and it's I got to say, I am, as a Panthers fan, I am very excited to be 9-0 right now, and I never would have thought for the life of me, because of my history with this franchise that goes back to the very beginnings, that we would be 9-0. I just, it's a surprising thing, but I am excited.
Yeah,
and I think we're the best team in the NFL right now.
I would say so. I really think if the Bengals had beaten the Texans, and the Patriots had lost, I think Bengals and Carolina would be the top two teams.
And Carolina's scoring like crazy. And let's not forget, if you didn't watch the game, you didn't notice it, but Ted Ginn had a kickoff return or a punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah, brought
back, and it was so sad because the guy who blocked in the back, the guy he blocked was so far out of the play anyway. So this game could have been 35-10.
And that's all over the highlights. Ted Ginn was pissed.
I don't want to be cocky, but I don't know of another team right now that can hang with the Panthers. And I would venture to guess that even the Patriots and all their
let's talk about the Patriots
glory, I don't think they can handle the Panthers because they haven't played a team yet that has had a completely potent offense and an incredibly potent defense.
And here's the thing is, we talk about schedules. Some of the guys like Andrew and Daniel like to give Kleinstein crap about his Carolina Panthers being undefeated. But let's look at the Patriots. Who have they played this year? They played the Jets. Maybe the best team they played all year is the Jets. And then they played Giants this week, and we all know they won by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, but the thing is, in the NFL, it doesn't matter. Like, you can say this, that, and the third about the schedule, but any team on any Sunday can beat you.
And we've already seen that with Detroit.
Absolutely. We've seen it with numerous times
Kansas City
this season. Anybody can step up. Tennessee with Mariota can be a dangerous team.
And they beat the Saints last week.
Well, anybody can beat the Saints because their defense is like
they put up 50 points and they still lose.
There was the Iron Curtain, back in the day with the Steelers. And I think the Saints would be the paper curtain, or the
just like, hey, let's just
curtain,
walk through
the cotton curtain. It's like this comfortable thing. You like run through it. You get a massage and a back rub and you get a touchdown to boot. It's so bad.
or what? Like 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah, and then they fired,
or Rex Ryan's brother.
Yeah, Rob Ryan.
Rob Ryan as defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he is out, folks, and Rex has already said he would love to have him up in Buffalo. So that's a little too much going on. Rex Ryan is already annoying enough. Give him his brother and
jeez.
Man,
Buffalo might be in trouble, honestly, in my opinion.
But so we were saying, the Patriots. So you've got the undefeateds remaining now after the let's go to Cincy. You want to talk Cincy for a minute, or what? No, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
So
Panthers.
Cincy was
let's continue to talk Panthers.
Okay, but we had Cincy. We had New
Panthers
England, and
New England
Panthers. All right, so the remaining ones. But the Panthers, I'm telling you, this team, as long as God forbid any major injuries to Cam or anybody, I really hope not.
Yeah.
But barring any major setbacks, this team, if they can stay healthy, I do not see anything that could stop them except themselves. If they play this consistently, stay healthy, that's the team to beat, because how do you stop a team that has the number 1 rushing attack in the NFL that is now getting a passing attack that is super dangerous and can beat you on the legs of Cam Newton?
Yeah. And here's the thing, and if you saw the stats and everything, the Carolina Panthers are the only team in the entire NFL that have run more than they have thrown.
Yeah.
So and Cam, of course, as we've talked about, outside of the radio broadcast, Cam gets you 2 to 3 touchdowns a game, and at least one of them is with his feet. So fantasy football fans, and like myself, picked him up in the 5th, 6th round because we knew, that Cam was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't know, like he said, be a perfect quarterback, and he hasn't had like monster numbers half the time. He's just playing consistently, and that's all that matters.
You don't have to, though. All right, let's. Here's the thing about the Panthers. Let's talk offensive coordinator, who I used to give a really hard time to. All right, their offensive coordinator is a guy by the name of Mike Shula,
which is Dan Shula's son.
Yeah, Don Shula. So why does that sound familiar? That's because it's Don Shula's son. Yeah. Now let's go back to Don Shula,
the perfect team.
Yeah, so he's famous for
the perfect
the
Miami
undefeated
Dolphins
season.
Yeah,
right.
Which the Patriots almost had, but the Giants, the Super Bowl.
So 72 Dolphins. I'm trying to remember. Let me see what their stats were, because if I'm not mistaken, we're talking about the 72 Dolphins. As far as we were talking about the Panthers running more than they threw, I really feel like it was a very similar type scenario. Yeah, I mean, they were killing it. I'm trying to look here at their the stats, but I think that they were a very, very run-heavy team. So by the end of the season, they had, it looks like for that 1972 season, they had 2,960 rushing yards as a team.
Yeah.
2,960. And then passing yards, they had 2,235.
So they had immense amount more rushing yards than throwing.
Yeah, and you know, what did they do? I mean, they created interceptions on defense. They created turnovers, and they went and they played smash mouth football. And in this, everybody wants to get flashy and they want to play West Coast. When it comes down to it, this smash mouth football is still something that is very, very hard to defeat. When you add in the read option, it's almost impossible. And that's why teams that continue to win Super Bowls, like when New York won. Yeah. All right. New York played smash mouth football. They had
both times.
Both times. Strong defense, good running game, and they littered in the pass when they needed it.
And exactly. And a good decent quarterback in the playoffs.
Pittsburgh Steelers, same thing.
Jerome Bettis back in the day.
Jerome Bettis, they had the bust. They could pound it down, but they could also throw it, and they could kill you with Hines Ward and those guys.
Of course.
All right. Same thing with Seattle.
Yeah.
Seattle
they had an amazing.
They won one, and if they would have ran the ball on the 1 yard line rather than pass it, they would have had two. Smash mouth. Yeah. So the exception to the rule is the Patriots. Yeah. Really. That's
because
the
they have Tom Brady. Because Tom Brady is arguably the
he is a scientist.
Yeah.
Like he comes in there, he is brilliant. He is the best quarterback to ever play the game. I will make that assertion. He is. I really believe it.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I mean, come on, man. Nobody else, Joe Montana, Super Bowl wise, maybe, but Brady's got the stats. He's got the Super Bowls. But the thing about it is, so they're an exception to the rule. But you look at Manning. Yeah. Manning never he got one Super Bowl, but he never had a balanced enough team to get that.
His defense and they didn't have defense. Terrible.
So they relied on him. So now I'm telling you, you've got the Panthers that have. Yes, I'm a Panthers homer, but you cannot deny that they've got a dangerous quarterback who's playing the best he's ever played. Yeah. Stats-wise, no. But that doesn't matter. He's smart. He's making good decisions. Pinpoint accuracy. He can beat you with his legs. He can beat you with his arm. He can beat you now with his mind and his play. He's calling audibles all the time. Yeah. Cam Newton never used to do that. He's calling audibles. Then you've got Jonathan Stewart running the ball. You've got plenty of other people back
Norman
there
who can Coleman playing defense.
You got plenty of other people who can run it. You've got a defensive tackle in Kawan Short, who's one of the best in the league right now. You've got Jared Allen, who's been revived by getting back to a 4-3 defense. You've got Charles Johnson, who is a beast of a defensive end, coming back from injury, full health now. So he's not even there. He's coming back. He had a tweet the other day. He said, "I'm back," right? And that's only going to make him better. Then you got Luke Kuechly. Yeah, we know he's all pro. Yeah. Then you got Thomas Davis, who's playing at a Pro Bowl level this year, and you got a young linebacker who is laying some of the hardest hits on people with Shaq Thompson. So you've got it on the front four. You've got it at the linebackers. They can cover. They can blitz. They can stop the run. Then you go, oh, wait a minute. We got a shutdown corner in Josh Norman. Yeah. You can't. So
arguably, he's the best corner in the league.
You've got
at least first half,
and then and even your safeties. Those guys aren't shabby. They're just all outshined by that. So you've got a defense that covers all three phases. Yeah. Now, Belichick is smart. He could figure out a way to at least penetrate it. But I'm telling you, if those guys play and then the offense comes in and plays the way that they can, where they've got the run heavy offense and they make you stack the box to stop the run, and then they beat you with the passes, and then you can't defend that.
Yeah. So I mean, and arguably, we expected the Patriots to be this good. We didn't expect Panthers or Bengals.
Nobody expected the Panthers to be this good, and there's still people who don't buy it.
Yeah.
The Patriots are number one, and they're right now in the power rankings this week, they got the Patriots number 1 at 9-0. Yeah. Okay. Even though the Pats almost lost pretty handily, to
they were down 10 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, to a team that is also not that great, and the Panthers beat Tennessee handily, who I think Tennessee could give New York a run for their money and potentially beat them. But it is what it is. Nobody's going to say that the Panthers are better
but the thing
than
with the
Patriots
Giants,
until the Panthers are 9-0 and the Patriots lose one.
Yeah, well, here's the thing with the Giants. Going to the Giants. Okay, they stopped the perfect season. They stopped the perfect season in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They stopped. Same thing happened a couple years later, and almost once again. And ironically, this is what I was about to get to off air. It was ironic because the Giants were up this time.
Yeah.
It was the Tom Brady Patriots that had to make the plays to come back in the game, where the Giants were always down, and those other wins in the Super Bowls, they were always down, and they had to make the magnificent plays.
They did.
And you could say what you want to do about the referees and all that, but like we said, and like Tom Coughlin said, they had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. I'm like, you can't you can't give away. And the whole almost pick injury thing was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, that's how you lose games, especially if you're playing arguably, the number one team in the league and the greatest quarterback, arguably, in modern day football.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much all I have to say because the Giants beat themselves in the fourth quarter. Pats,
You don't let. That's what I was saying a minute ago before we went to break. You don't let the Patriots hang around.
Yeah.
You don't do it. It's Tom Brady is gonna.
He's the smartest quarterback.
Put together a fourth quarter drive.
Yeah.
He's gonna hit.
Of course he is.
Gronk. He's gonna call plays that eat you up in short yardage across the middle. He's gonna run a no huddle, and he's gonna get it going, and have the defense off balance. Unless you are the absolute best defense in the league, and even then.
Yeah.
Even then, he can pick you apart.
And here
you don't want him in those moments.
Moving away from that, but injury report just happened. Edelman is maybe out for the season.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, for fantasy fans, but also for the Patriots, he's their number 2 guy.
Well, LaFell's going to get a big boost in tosses. So pick
and
LaFell up off the
gonna
waiver wire
run
if
more.
you don't. Well, they still, they're the worst team to have a fantasy running back from.
Yeah.
I used to get so frustrated because for 2 seasons I had at least one of their guys on my roster. And finally I was like, I'm never going to draft a Patriots running back again because they're too unpredictable.
Yeah.
Because the Patriots game plan more than anybody.
No doubt.
So
no doubt.
they will have one game. Their plan is, we're going to run it down their throat and we're going to put up 200 yards in rushing, 100 with each back. The next game, they run it 5 times and they're going to beat them through the air. And that inconsistency, I was just like, you know what? So I don't think Blunt's going to get too much of an impact from this. I think what they're going to do.
Well, receptions-wise, maybe.
Yeah, and Tom Brady, he'll make a star out of anybody.
And he does. And that's why, we weren't talking about Gronk. We weren't talking about Edelman. We don't talk, the only great, guy that we talked about back in the day that he had was Randy Moss.
Yeah.
And
great quarterbacks make great receivers.
And that's what Tom Brady's been since day one.
And
day one.
And it's the proof is in guys like Julius Thomas, who, last year arguably one of the best, year before last, arguably one of the best tight ends in the game when he had Peyton Manning throwing to him, right?
Yeah.
And then it all depends on your coordinator too.
Yeah.
Do they use the tight end a lot? Well, he goes down to Jacksonville and he just looks like nobody. He's nobody.
Yeah. Well, they have Allen Hurts and Allen Robinson, so they have
they're
the
doing
dynamic duo
they're
there.
Doing well, you know what I got? Just back to the Panthers real quick because when we say that these great quarterbacks make great receivers, I like to think of a guy who really. I hated to lose him to the Ravens, and I hated to see him go down this year, and that's Steve Smith.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Steve Smith had played for like a Tom Brady?
Yeah.
Or had he, rather
or
than
Aaron Rodgers or Peyton Manning.
But he played for Jake Delhomme for many years, which was Jake had a couple good seasons, but then there was just a whole mess of random people, and then he had a couple. He was revived again with Cam, but he had to, But if he would have been in there, man, he would have been. That guy was a charm to watch play.
And he's
awesome.
still, I mean, he says he's going to play again, so
we'll see.
We'll find out. He's 35 years old.
35, coming off of a torn Achilles. That's a hard one to come back.
Okay, when we return, we're going to talk about I would say the biggest upset this week, other than Detroit and Green Bay, and that being Monday Night Football last night, the Texans and Bengals.
That's definitely got to talk about that.
And we're gonna come back to that, and we'll talk a little bit about Dolphins and Eagles. Give a little heads up there. But yeah, and we will be back. You're listening to WACW and Inside the Park with Braden T and Kleinstein.
That's right.
know that you feel me somehow. You're the closest to heaven that I'll ever be, and I don't wanna go home right now. And all I could taste is this moment, and all I can breathe is your life. And sooner or later it's over. I just don't wanna miss you tonight. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. And you can't fight the tears that ain't coming, all the moment of truth in your lies. When everything feels like the movies, yeah, you bleed just to know you're alive. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am.
Hello, everyone. We are back on the air. This is
We are back.
WACW Inside the Parks with Braden T and Kleinstein and friends, and it's only Braden T and Kleinstein, like the original two.
Because we don't have any friends.
We don't have any friends, it seems.
Too cool for them.
Before we get to Monday Night Football, because I want to build up to Monday Night Football, because that's what Monday Night Football is. It's sort of the climax of the NFL every
Right.
week. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Miami Dolphins and the Philly Eagles. Well, once again, Ryan Tannehill, A&M. I'm not a big A&M fan, but I am from the state of Texas, so I'll get a little love and shout out. Has another safety. This is the first time in years, back-to-back games, where a quarterback has had a safety. And Ryan Tannehill, because I don't know, he just has a bad
How many has
offensive
he
line.
had? Like 3 or 4 in a row?
Three games in a row where he's
Yeah.
had a safety. 3 games in a row with the safety. And so Eagles have a great first half. Eagles have a fantastic first half, actually.
Yeah.
They really, really do well. They score a field goal in the entire second half and lose by 1. It's pretty bad. And not only this, my predictions came true. I apologize for all you Oklahoma fans / Sam Bradford fans / Philly fans. It was just a matter of time. I don't know how long he's out. I hope it's not out long, because I'm not. It's not one of those people that love to see people injured, because that's not cool.
Yeah.
But it was just only a matter of time to see Sam Bradford go out, because he's injury prone.
It stinks,
was
but it's true.
it was more. He's played more games this year than I think he has almost his entire every year of his career. He's played essentially 10 games or 9 games this year. I don't know how serious the injury is. It was a concussion / shoulder injury, and he once again, offensive line that's not that great.
Nope.
He's been sacked a lot as well. He's
You've
up there.
got to
He's,
have a line.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I'll put money down on it. Offensive line is the most important formation position, whatever you want to call it, in the entire NFL. That's the most important, because if you can have a stud, you can have Tom Brady, but if you don't have a stud offensive line, he's gonna get hit. He's gonna get hit, and he's gonna take his licks. And so it's exactly what Sam Bradford and Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson have been doing all year round, and they've been taking their hits. And it showed, in the last couple of games for Peyton. It showed, pretty much all season for Sam Bradford. And he's had to work against his offensive line. I don't think Sam Bradford's a bad quarterback. He's not. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. But he's not a great
or really not good. I mean,
No.
he's a backup. He
He's
should
a
be a
backup.
backup right now. The whole, I was going to bring up the trade and say that they shouldn't trade away Foles, but we see what Foles is doing.
Foles is not doing that
he's
great either.
Floundering too. He's not doing great at all. So.
Which I would rather had Foles, but now they're about even. Actually, Sam Bradford might be better. I think Rams are just a better team because Todd Gurley is a beast. So Sam Bradford goes out. I think that's the biggest headline of this game. Another safety for Ryan Tannehill. And I would say the most ridiculous lucky catch maybe of all season. If you saw the replay, Ryan Tannehill throws it off a defensive coordinator, defensive lineman, pretty much hits him in the helmet, flies and winds up in the hands of his receiver in the end zone for a touchdown. I'm like, you can't get any more lucky.
Yeah.
And that's how they win the
can't.
game.
You
I
can't.
mean, like this is how they scored their 20 points that won the game. And okay, Mark Sanchez and the Eagles, Mark Sanchez was good until the very last drive. Last four and a half, they didn't.
Sanchez.
Yeah, Mark Sanchez was 14 for 23, 156, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. It's funny because his first 2 years as a Jet, they went back-to-back playoffs. And then he became the laughingstock of the NFL. I mean, he and Rex Ryan single-handedly became the laughingstock of the NFL. Especially in that game where he turned it over like 6 times in one quarter versus the Patriots, and it's still like the most bloopers in one performance ever, where he falls down like by his own offensive line about 3 or 4 times, fumbles it about 4 times, throws interceptions about 2 or 3 times.
Yep.
And and that's your backup.
Tell me this: with Bradford down and a crappy backup,
Tim Tebow?
is it
Yes!
Tebow time?
I was hoping you would say that. It is totally Tebow time. I'm
Of course,
ready.
that's everybody.
I'm ready.
Everybody in the world's gonna say it, or at
It's
least
Tebow
everybody
time.
who doesn't hate Tebow
Yeah.
is gonna say, "Hey, come on, it's Tebow
Come on,
time."
it's Tebow
You know
time.
what?
It is. I think it is.
Absolutely,
I
it's Tebow time.
Well,
we
what-
need to with using our massive connections that we have, and call over there to the Eagles.
hey, yeah, exactly.
Hey, just want you to know it's Tebow time.
Tebow time.
Tebow time.
I think there's how in baseball there's the bullpen phone, which no one knows where that actually goes. They could be ordering pizza.
We need one of those.
We
here.
For an Eagle, hey Eagles.
He's gonna go to Chip Kelly.
Yeah, Chip Kelly.
He's gonna answer their phone. He's gonna go, hey, and we're gonna go Tebow time.
Tebow time,
and it's gonna happen.
He'll be like, he gets a call the next minute. Well, Braden and Kleinstein.
Yeah, that's how you gotta say, hey man, it's Braden. And I got Kleinstein here.
Yeah.
It's Tebow time.
It's Tebow time. It's like, all right, hangs up the phone, calls Tebow, rings him up, and a little rotary dial
would be
phone.
Be like, oh man, I was just serving some poor kids in like a really
working for the
bad
SEC
part
and
of China, and I'm praying for him, but now I'm going to stop and come back and play.
Yeah, he's been doing Jesus' work,
mean.
and
I'm glad he's a good guy, and I like his
guy.
faith. He
really is.
I'm proud of him.
And once again, it's so
I
ironic.
think he's good.
See, here's the ironic thing. Here's the ironic thing. Once again, the quarterback stopping Tim Tebow from being a starter is Mark Sanchez.
And that's unfortunate.
It's so
Sanchez
unfortunate.
Is not.
I think Tim Tebow's better than Sanchez.
I think Sanchez may be a little bit better of a passer, but Tebow's at least going to give you the read option, and he can hit enough. Don't make him zip it downfield. Let him work in the tight ends. Let him do some short throws, crosses.
That's what Philip
things
Rivers
like that.
does. That's what Philip Rivers does,
and occasionally go for the big play. And
that's
he
what
could
Tom Brady does.
Yeah, you don't need to bring him in to be Tom Brady.
No.
You don't
just gotta
need
win games.
You need a Tim Tebow, and that's the thing. It's like with the Panthers, they let Cam Newton be Cam Newton.
Yeah,
and they played to his strengths.
And
it was unconventional. But now they got a winning quarterback that's hard to defend against because he is unconventional.
And this is my thing. I know we're going to skip a little bit, but Johnny Football. That's how I feel about Johnny Football. The Browns coaches won't let Johnny Football be Johnny Football.
Yeah.
And they lost big time versus the Pittsburgh Steelers this week, 30-9.
Well, the Titans are actually letting Manziel do what he does. They're letting him run. They're letting him scramble,
success.
and he's looking really good.
And that's
same with Jameis Winston.
Well, that's how it was on last Thursday Night Football. Johnny Football looked really good, and then the coaches are like, "Hey, you can't get out of the pocket because it's unconventional." And then they had 20 yards in the third quarter. I know Bengals defense is good. Don't get me wrong, but 20 yards in the third quarter to a quarterback who was doing really, really well. I just think NFL quarterbacks need to get over their high-throned, not everyone's like Tom Brady. Not everyone's like Brett Favre. Not everyone's like Drew Brees who can just keep throwing it Hail Mary every single pass.
Yeah.
And it's just not realistic. And there's going to be a new tide because of people like Cam Newton and Mariota, and who knows what Johnny Football will do, and if Tim Tebow's back, that will be more running style quarterbacks. And it's just more scrambling. There's going to be more scrambling than ever before. It's going to happen.
Well, you see, because it's a trickle down. It's going from the high school level to the college level, and it's going to make it in here. And it can be a winning formula.
It really is.
Here's the thing: you can't do it on legs alone. But if you have a quarterback who has good legs and arms, then why not?
Yeah, why not? Exactly.
Yeah, why not? And why not
double
add another
threat,
wrinkle
threat.
that is hard to defend
Because
against?
Tom Brady can't run, but he's still the best because he has the golden arm.
Yeah, the thing that is hard to get though is that combination of size, speed, and durability.
And maybe Tim Tebow has that. I mean,
Tim Tebow's an animal. I mean,
he was 9-7 with a playoff win for the Broncos before Peyton Manning came to town.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, for real, a 9-7 with a playoff win versus the Steelers. Yeah, I know they're always banged up. Don't give me that.
Yeah.
But they still win. And of course, you can say, well, they lost to the Patriots. Like, who doesn't lose to the Patriots? I'm like, come on. And the only team that could beat the Patriots in the playoffs is the Giants. Let's be for real though. Everyone loses the Patriots in playoffs other than the Giants.
Of course they do.
So.
Yeah,
but so essentially, it's Tebow
the
time.
Panthers won't.
It's Tebow time. If the Eagles
Tebow
time, because Mark Sanchez is not a good quarterback. He's proven it. He's had too many years, and he's proven it many, many times over and over. Ryan Tannehill, he didn't throw an interception. And he played pretty well. Got 2 touchdowns, and. Right now with the Eagles, sort of being banged up, with Sam Bradford being banged up, and they just continue to lose close games. I think that's their season as well. There's teams like that. I would say like the Giants at times, and the Eagles, people like that, just keep losing close games.
Yeah, they do.
And that's sort of And Miami got in the winning ways, 4-5. Both teams are 4-5. Okay, let's just move on. Let's move on to last night's game because one of my buddies was telling me that the game that the Bengals were more favored to beat the Texans than the Detroit Lions to beat the Green Bay Packers. And the the Detroit Lions hadn't beat Green Bay Packers in Lambeau in 24 years. So they were banking on the Bengals to beat us, the Texans. And this is the thing. Texans will almost never look impressive offensively. They will almost never look well offensively. Look, we had Hoyer, who was 12 for 22 before he got a concussion, 123 yards, 0 touchdowns. The one interception was actually quite smart of an interception if you actually saw it. I was at the game. I was personally at the game. Got back. I'm
surprised you made it back. I'm glad
2:30 in the morning.
Didn't get killed.
Yeah, did not get killed. The Bengals fans, thank you all Bengals fans for not killing me. I'm so thankful that they did not.
Absolutely.
But it was the smartest INT I've ever seen. It's weird to say smartest INT I've ever seen, but honestly it was. It was the clock was out. He held Hoyer held the ball until throwing it down the field. And they caught it at the end zone, but it didn't matter because time had expired in the first half, going to halftime, and it was for a while it was 6-3. The defenses just showed up. And Andy Dalton and gang, it was interesting. Tyler Eifert dropped 3 passes. Tyler Eifert's the number one receiver.
He was saying he should have had a better game. I saw some article.
Oh, yeah,
about it,
of course.
The guy's got 9
touchdowns
on the season. Is that number one? I think
it is number one, at least. Because Gronk only got 1. I think he's at 7 or 8. But, that's number one. Tight end is the number one touchdowns by a player in the entire league. That's crazy. And he was injured all year last year. But he drops 3 passes tonight, key passes. One was key, but he was 3 receptions for 26 yards. Tyler Eifert, 3 catches, 26 yards. Man. It was a 10-6 game, defense, and crazy enough, I called it going into the game because we picked up TJ Yates 2 weeks ago after all the debacle with Ryan Mallett because he's a baby right now and he just needs to grow up. And he's going to learn the hard way, or he's going to be out of the NFL, and he might be out of the NFL before he has a chance to learn, honestly. But we picked up TJ Yates, who was dropped by the Falcons last year. And what happens? Brian Hoyer gets injured, just like Matt Schaub got injured in the playoffs. And who comes out? TJ Yates. He doesn't have a great game. He was 5 for 11, 69 yards, and a crazy catch by DeAndre Hopkins won us the game. And the defense played. The defense played like we've been praying they would play all season long. They allowed an undefeated team only 6 points, 0 points in the second half. That's incredible. And this is the most balanced offense going into this game.
One of them, yeah. No, they are.
Honestly.
They're pretty balanced.
Because look at their receivers. They have Tyler Eifert. They have Marvin Jones. They have AJ Green. They have arguably the best dynamic duo in running back if Jeremy Hill gets going. Jeremy Hill and Gio Bernard. And that's sick. That's got to be, I would say, the most balanced on paper, most balanced offensive core.
Yeah, they've definitely. Even though Jeremy Hill's been kind of a disappointment this season, he's still good enough.
He's still Jeremy Hill.
But the point is, they've got a great running attack. Yeah. They've got good wideouts. They've got a solid tight end. And they've got an okay defense.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between them and a team like Carolina. And that's why I think Carolina is remaining undefeated.
Because their defense.
It's so good. And I think that I'm hoping and praying. I want a Super Bowl for the Panthers, maybe because I'm a diehard fan.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping and praying that is the thing, that they get there and that defense is the difference maker because their offense is good enough now. I think their offense is good enough to hang with any. I put them as a top 5 offense now, the Panthers, but obviously the Bengals are very much a top tier offense.
Until this game, honestly, and maybe the Pittsburgh game where they won, I think 16-10. It just was a bad game too, offensively.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, the final stats, both teams had 256 yards. So it's a tie. It was neck and neck, literally every single second. At times the quarterbacks would look good, and the defenses wouldn't look good, and and then other times defenses would look super impressive, and it'd be 3rd and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. To start the going into the fourth quarter, Texans had stopped the Bengals on 3rd down 6 times in a row. That is key. They're 0-6, 0-6 in the third quarter and 3rd down conversions.
Man, you've got to get those 3rd down conversions.
And it's a 4-point game. And we've been in Houston, this is what we've been talking about. If Texans are going to be, crazy enough, we are tied with number 1 versus with the Colts for the AFC South being 4-5. I know that's pitiful. I know the AFC South is maybe the worst division, maybe of all of NFL right now. But maybe of NFL history. This is crazy that 2 4-5 teams are co-leading the division. I know. It's crazy. 4-5 is co-leading the division.
You know what? It kind of reminds me of
last year's.
Of the NFC South.
Yeah, last year. Because you had
the Panthers made it. I think they were 7-9.
No, they had one tie.
6-10?
They had one tie. They were like 7-8-1 or something like that, and they won because the Falcons were 6-10. And for real?
Amazing. But then they went in and won a game.
Well, you still have to win a game. Don't give me that.
Can't take a win away, all right, huh?
Hey, you know what? We haven't
Look at the way
won
they're
in years.
playing now. That's that same team.
Yeah.
It's the same team there.
So, but the thing is, and in this game, the rushing was terrible. For almost until the end of the game, Andy Dalton was the leading rusher for the Bengals. He had 30 yards, and Gio Bernard, I think, ended up with 38 yards. Or 36, 38. Rushing was pitiful, just the entire for both games. I mean, Alfred Blue, he's not Foster. Gio Bernard was stopped by our D. All their trick plays that worked versus the Browns and Thursday Night Football did not work versus the Texans. They tried a couple reverses, didn't work. They tried to go deep. Some of those were drop passes. Some of them, one was picked out by Jonathan Joseph.
Oh man!
So and look, here's the thing. Defensively for the Texans, Whitney Merciless, 4 tackles, 1 assist. J.J. Watt finally got another sack because he wasn't, he broke through some double teams, which is crazy, and 2 tackles. Jonathan Joseph had key INT, 4 tackles. Brian Cushing came alive, 5 tackles, 2 assists. And once finally. The whole defensive line, including the cornerbacks, which is our worst defensive position, no doubt, stepped it up versus an undefeated team. And arguably, this is a new rivalry, and I'll tell you why. Because the Texans have beaten the Bengals twice in the playoffs, and we beat them last night, and in the last 4 or 5 times we played them, it's gone to the fourth quarter. Field goal games. Field goal, 7-point game, 1 possession games. And versus Andy Dalton's impressive. I don't care what you had to say about him. He has the 3rd most touchdowns since he's been in the league behind Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Yeah, he hasn't won a playoff game, and so he's not in that elite quarterback yet because he needs to win a playoff game. But we can say a lot about Peyton Manning. He's only won 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and he's
not in that elite level, but he is having a great season, and we'll see if he can carry it on to
and watch out.
For many years to come.
For the Bengals, it's gonna be difficult because look at the other 2 undefeated teams after they're lost. Broncos have not looked the same. Green Bay has lost 3 in a row. So the question is, are the Bengals going to continue that trend of 2 or 3 losses, or are they just going to go, they're playing the Arizona Cardinals. So, Palmer, ex Bengals quarterback, Carlson Palmer, and so the question is, are the Bengals going to step it up and stop this trend of perfect teams after they've lost their first game going on a negative trend? And next week will be
it'll be a
it was a really exciting game. honestly, it was sloppy offensively, but honestly, defense played actually well. It wasn't sloppy so much. There wasn't like 500 turnovers. There was, one interception for both starting quarterbacks and one touchdown the entire game, and defenses just looked good. And they really did. Yeah, there was a couple drop passes. Like I said, Eifert dropped 3, and to end the game, crazy. I don't know if you saw the last play of the game. AJ Green catches a sick pass for an amazing first down. I was sweating that last drive out because once again, the last drive of the Bengals
Sanu to go get one. Who was on the other guy?
Mohamed Sanu, yeah.
Or no, it was Jones. It was Marvin Jones.
Yeah,
because he was the key that was keeping me. Could have made me lose last night if he would have got 15 points, which could happen. He's done it twice this season already. The guy would have tied me if he would have got 16. He would have won. So I was watching every minute of that ending. Like, come on, and
so. But no, I mean, the last drive scared me because the Bengals, they did it versus Seattle. They did it. Yeah, I forgot what other team they were playing. Honestly, Pittsburgh, held out Pittsburgh. But that Seattle game, I would say their most impressive win all year, coming back on Seattle in the fourth quarter and winning in overtime, and so it was scary because Dalton has been so impressive this year.
What do you real quick, can I ask you, because we're running out of time, what do you think? What was your biggest surprise game this week? I'm gonna jump on. I'm gonna jump on it because so many people, and JJ Watt talked about this. So many people were like, Texans have no chance. Yeah,
Texans because undefeated team. I mean,
to hold Cincy to 6 points.
Yeah,
that's
undefeated team. Maybe
deal.
Arguably, in the top 2 or 3 balanced offenses in the entire league. Have the number 1 touchdown receiver in Tyler Eifert, and have weapons like AJ Green, who's not playing extremely elite well, but he's still AJ Green, know. And Gio Bernard has played amazingly well, in my opinion. And he's played consistent until last night. And so I would say us, but it's hard to say not against the Detroit. I mean, like Detroit, to not beat someone at an away game in 24 years, that's hard to do.
You want to know my biggest surprise game of the week?
What?
I'm going to go with Washington, New Orleans.
Oh, that's true.
Washington.
47,
we're talking about the Redskins here.
Kirk Cousins.
You like that?
You like that? Kirk Cousins. That's his nickname now. You like that?
47 points.
4 touchdowns.
Points
4 touchdowns.
On New Orleans. Rob Ryan out the door that Monday, and that's a reason. So the Panthers are going to play them on Sunday. We play the Redskins. And, 47 points is nothing to scoff at. I mean, that's a lot. I just don't think they can put that on Carolina.
No, well, Saints are, I would say, the worst defense.
They are horrendous. Yeah. I mean, you make Kirk Cousins look like a Tom Brady.
He really 4 touchdowns
on his best day.
Yeah. And Drew, you can, once again, it's sort of like that. You put all your eggs in one basket in Drew Brees and Mark Ingram. You can't do that.
God, but Kirk Cousins, man, gosh. I mean, look at this. 20 for 25, 324 yards. 20 of 25.
Yeah.
That's accurate. 324 yards, 4 touchdowns.
And no interceptions.
And no picks.
Yeah.
That, to me, when are people going to start giving Kirk Cousins a little bit of love here?
And who knows? They might win the division. They honestly could win their division.
They could very much. Man, they're 4-5.
Eagles are 4-5. Dallas is not 4-5, and Giants are 5-5. I think. So Giants are 5-5.
So I'm looking at it right now. So with the NFC East, Giants are 1. Yeah, Redskins are in second place. The Giants are right ahead of them.
5-5, right?
Yep. And they've got it. The Redskins have a 4-1 record at home.
Yeah.
Now they're 0-4 on the road.
Yeah. Which hopefully don't play many road games for their sake.
But they're also 4-2 within the conference. I mean, and 1-1 in the division.
And honestly, all you have to do is be better than the guys in your division.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. In a situation like this, and they can be. I mean, it's a toss-up. It's anybody's game. Dallas. I read this thing today. Tony Romo says they're going to have this, rebirth when he comes back, and they're going to come back to win the division.
Who
Keep
knows?
dreaming, Dallas.
Who knows? Honestly.
Oh, come on. No, not happening.
Well, when the Eagles keep losing close games and the Redskins going up and down,
Well, they're only 3 games back.
Yeah.
But if New York has the best shot, but the Redskins are close behind. Dallas is a mess.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones is a mess. He's ruined that organization. They'll never do anything while he's there. Greg Hardy,
oh
who
gosh,
ex-Panther,
yeah,
is a mess.
he's a mess.
He is undisciplined. He's a horrible character guy. He's doing whatever he wants. He's making a fool out of the whole organization. They are all out of sorts. You got Des Bryant's not having a great year. You got Romo's been injured.
Because he doesn't have
You got
Romo.
one running back now
Darren McFadden.
who is historically injury prone. Since he's
Yeah.
on my fantasy team, I hope he doesn't stay that
Same
way.
here. I mean,
You know,
he's
I
on
want
mine
him to
as
stay
well.
healthy and put up big numbers. But I am a Dallas hater, so I am actually enjoying watching them struggle this year. And we play them in a couple weeks, and my biggest fear is that they have an upset on the Panthers.
Yeah, yeah,
Which could happen. Romo's going to be
Romo,
back.
see, the thing is, they don't win without Romo. Romo
but
is
the
their key.
Panthers against Dallas, our history is not good. They
Yeah.
tend to beat us a lot.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
this is a different Panthers team.
Exactly. So, previewing to end our segment, we're gonna preview. I would say the big 6 games you should be watching in Week 11. I'm a Texans homer, but hey, they're top of their division at 4-5. Yes, I know it's pitiful that they're 4-5 and they're co-leading with the Colts, but the Texans are playing a good Jets team and their ex-quarterback and Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Chris Ivory's a beast too.
So this is the Week 11 big games to watch.
Week 11 big games. Texans versus Jets. Jets are coming off that difficult loss versus Buffalo versus their old coach and Rex Ryan. They're going to be hungry for a win. Texans are coming off their best win of the season. So it's a good question if we can. And it would be nice to beat our old quarterback and Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Biggest game of that whole week for me, Titans at Jaguars.
And
Just kidding.
And Bengals, the trend, like I said, are they continuing the trend of continuing to lose after they've lost their first game? Who knows? But they're playing, Carson Palmer.
Man, Bengals-Cardinals game is going to be exciting.
It really is.
I mean, you got Cardinals. They actually scare me a little bit.
They were undefeated
NFC.
for a while.
They're a good team. The Cardinals are a very good team. They were good last
They've
year.
lost, what, 2
They've
in a
gotten
row or
even
something?
better this year. Carson Palmer. No, they haven't lost 2 in a row. They've lost 2 games.
Yeah.
I don't think they were consecutive. I think they just won. Carson Palmer's having a great year. But so my games, I'm really interested to see Bengals and Cardinals.
Yeah.
Packers Vikings.
Yeah, Packers Vikings I think is the game of the week.
Yeah.
Because the Packers have to prove something to their rival.
Well, this is
Vikings
for
are
the
leading the
division.
division.
This is
Vikings
for
are
the
leading the
division.
division now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
And they already got beat by the Bears, right? Is that or who
No.
beat Green Bay? Not the Bears yet.
Detroit.
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 Even worse.
Yeah, even worse. No, honestly, even worse. Because Detroit was because they were the first winning team.
Yeah.
Last winning team, I should say. Last team to win in the NFL, and that was their second win all year.
Yep. But I think my other 2 games, obviously the Panthers, Washington, which nobody's going to care about that game. I care about it because I love the Panthers, but also can they go 10-0? Every week is going to be interesting for the Panthers to see how long this is going to go.
Yeah.
All right.
And the thing with perfect teams is the media is all over them, and that's what's difficult.
Yeah. And the Patriots Bills is another one because I think the Bills are an inconsistent but incredibly talented team. They're loaded. At any moment they could have a great game.
Yeah.
And I would love to see them take the Patriots down and take
And
a win.
who doesn't? Who doesn't want to see that?
I think everybody.
But I mean, even we're almost all Rex Ryan fans for one game.
Yeah.
Which
is hard for me.
Which
because
is
I
hard.
think he's kind of a goober.
He's a. I wouldn't say a low light, but
I didn't
it's
like
just not
him
positive.
naming what's his face a captain a couple weeks ago. Ike Impali or whatever, however you pronounce his name. He's the guy who punched Geno Smith in the jaw and broke his jaw.
Yeah.
So you know about that. When they went to play the Jets, he named him a starter. And I'm just like, man, they said it wasn't anything personal, but to me, that's
how can it not be personal?
That's exactly. It's like, okay, I'm going to play the team that fired me, and I'm going to name the guy that broke their starting quarterbacks. And I just thought that was a low class thing to do, and I think that it was a smack in the face, no pun intended, of Geno Smith.
Yeah,
I really
actually
didn't.
pretty funny.
I didn't mean
That's
that.
actually pretty
No,
funny.
I didn't mean it that way. But it is. He's already got punched in the face, and then to do that, it's very disrespectful to him, especially considering. he was his coach,
Yeah.
and it's like, walking away saying, "Hey, I don't care about you all. In fact, I'm going to rub this in your face." And it's very immature for a head coach. And I think that's the thing about Ryan. He seems kind of immature.
He's a very immature person.
Yeah, he doesn't handle himself like a head coach, and I don't know if he's a legitimate head coach either. We'll see. Only time will tell.
And moving on, I would say because of how close to AFC, every game for me with the Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars is going to be important because people are crazy enough predicting Jacksonville Jaguars to win the division now.
That's amazing.
I know, it is amazing.
I hope they do because
Texans, bro. Texans.
Well, yeah, I'm not a Texans fan. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to root against the Texans. I'll say if the Texans win, I'll be happy for them. But if the Jaguars win their division, I think
AFC
Jaguars fans are probably the saddest fans in the league. And
They're
if there are
Buccaneers
any
fans,
left, if there's any Jaguars fans left, it's like they're starving, man. They're emaciated. They're on the floor. Give them some breadcrumbs. Let them get to a playoff berth so they don't die and wither away. It's so sad. So I want them to have that win.
It's I think for the Texans, it'd be nice for the Colts and Jags continue to lose or get on the losing train.
Well, the Colts could. That's an interesting game.
It's the Falcons. Colts and Falcons.
Are the Falcons going to continue this slump? I hope the Colts beat the crap out of them because that's my division. No, the Falcons need to go down, but also I need T.Y. Hilton to put up big TDs, big numbers.
I need Devontae Friedman to have a game.
Look, here's the thing.
3 touchdowns.
It's a fantasy thing for me, and it's a divisional thing for me.
Yeah.
So I need, and it is for you too.
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
Let's hope that it's a high-scoring game.
Yeah. No. They don't have defenses. They don't have defenses.
The Colts win.
It's gonna be like it's gonna be like the Giants. It's not gonna be as bad, but the Giants and Saints game a couple weeks ago where they set the record with like 13 touchdowns or something like that.
So this is a hard one for us to call because it's a divisional thing for both of us.
Yeah, and a fantasy
thing for both of us. So Brady, I'm gonna have to take my side in this one.
Of course. I'm gonna take
I'm
mine.
gonna say Colts win it by 47 points, all scored by T.Y.
Well done, Reggie Wayne of Reggie Wayne.
He's gonna put up 47 fantasy, or who knows how many fantasy points, but
it's gonna be like 100.
Yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous, and
no,
yeah, and the Falcons.
I'll tell you why
Devontae.
Everyone should try to trade for Devontae Freeman because one thing, he's the number one fantasy points guy and running back, and I believe in wide receiver as well. Wide receiver, running back, and. He's playing against the Colts this week, who have, other than the Saints, may have the worst defense consistently. And they've never been a good defense.
Nobody's going to give up Devontae Freeman.
No one is. And Devontae Freeman
why did I not pick him up off the waiver wire?
Yeah, I got him off the waiver wire after, ironically, when they played the Texans, and he got 3 touchdowns.
Never going to forgive myself.
And but I'm like, and if Devontae stays healthy, he's gonna have a huge game over the Colts because they have no defense.
Can I have one moment for a quick soapbox for college football? Just a quick.
Sure.
How about those Carolina Tar Heels? 9-1. 9-1. Finally in the top 25. They're number 23.
No one cares, though.
Everyone cares.
They care about
about
Tar Heel basketball.
Give me a soapbox. And you knocked me off of it. Another team I want to talk about because, believe it or not, my family's all Gators, the Florida
really?
Gators.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad, uncles, grandpas, all Gators, right? So the Gators, 9-1, but hey, they're ranked 11th. Well, it's because they're in the SEC.
Yeah,
so nobody wants to give Carolina love. But hey, I'm happy with both of those because, either way, I'm going to do all right. And let's just do one more thing about NCAA men's basketball.
Yeah.
Do you guys know who the number 1 team in the country is right now?
The North Carolina Tar Heels.
Yeah, they're 2-0, and the University of North Carolina Tar Heels are number 1. That means, folks, they are ranked ahead of who? The Kentucky Wildcats, everybody. Just gonna
and
put
no one's
that
gonna
out
listen
there.
to our broadcast.
Wait, Kentucky Duke, is that tonight?
Yes, it is.
That is tonight.
I don't know. Is it 8
Let's
o'clock?
go. Let's go. Man, I'm gonna have to pull for Kentucky in this one.
Okay, good. I'm like, don't
Come
you
on,
say Duke.
I can't pull for Duke.
No, don't you say Duke.
So my prediction: Duke is gonna get beat by 40,000 points tonight.
Yes, I think everyone in the state of Kentucky.
Yeah, I don't
on this
I
side
don't
of the state
really,
of Kentucky.
because Kentucky's gonna do they're going to borrow some stars from Carolina to make their roster
they're
worth
just
a hoot.
gonna borrow NBA guys.
And then
Charles Barkley's gonna play.
Charles Barkley, he's like 400 pounds now, man. It's like he's bigger than me. You're not going to have me out there playing b-ball.
Oh man.
Although I can dunk, but yeah, so I do think that Tar Heels are going to dominate in the world of football and college basketball. They're both going to win championships. So this is going to be the year that the Carolina Panthers win the Super Bowl. The North Carolina Tar Heels, if they are allowed to get a shot at the NCAA football championship, which they won't.
That's not gonna happen.
They won't, but they'll win a good bowl game.
Yeah.
The Tar Heels are going to win everything. The NCAA basketball tournament.
March Madness already bold predictions.
They're going to win it. So that's going to be victory, victory, victory. And then to top it all off, you know what else is going to happen? The Hurricanes are going to win the Stanley Cup.
Oh gosh, are they
And
any
then
good?
the stars are going to align, and Jesus is going to return because
the Hurricanes aren't good.
hey, three of those are possibilities though. The Panthers probably and the Tar Heels basketball are probably the most likely.
Yeah, no
but
doubt.
Tar Heels football, man, they could do some damage.
So hey,
But,
you know what?
You know,
It's better than UT Texas football. We've been the shining moment for Texas football this year has been our win against Oklahoma. So we knocked down the Oklahoma Sooners. So
yeah, and you're an NBA fan too, right?
yeah, but I haven't really been watching because I'm just soaked into NFL right now.
I'm not.
Really
I'm not a big. I'm not. You know what's funny is I was an NBA fan
until
until they sent the Hornets to New Orleans.
New Orleans.
I was sad about that because I grew up in the years where I went to see multiple games with Alonzo Mourning,
And,
Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues, Del
Bogues, yeah,
Curry.
Muggsy Bogues, the shortest man who played in
So,
the
folks, if you
NBA.
could have seen this, Brady is pointing to the ground while he's trying to remember the name of Muggsy Bogues, as in to say, the short guy.
who could dunk and
could
play
dunk.
who played
was
against
beast.
Michael Jordan. There are pictures against Muggsy
Man, he
Bogues
was
and Jordan.
good. But so I grew up going to those games, and man, it was amazing. But then they went and moved
they have
to
the
New Orleans.
Bobcats now. Come on.
No, the Bobcats were boring. I didn't care about it. But the Hornets are back
Yeah.
in Charlotte now. They're
Yeah.
back. The Hornets are back in Charlotte. I'm kind of going to be a fan, even though I'm in Kentucky. I'll make do. I like the people of Kentucky. I like the land.
Yeah.
There's no sports here for me yet.
So, well, thank you, folks, for tuning in to this week's edition of Inside the Parks with Braden T. Kleinstein Friends.
Yes, yes.
Continue to watch football. Continue to watch sports. Continue to fall in love with the story that is sports, that is NFL, that is NCAA football, basketball, and NBA as that's going on right now.
I think next week, though, we got to take some time to talk about the UK Duke game.
Yeah,
So
no doubt.
just
No doubt.
because basketball
It's huge.
season is
It's
gearing
huge.
up. I'm a big basketball fan. So the Panthers, obviously, everybody loves to hear about them with me. I know people love to hear that, right? They want to hear that. But next week, we'll talk a little bit about some NCAA
we'll talk.
basketball.
Yeah, NCAA basketball, and we'll get there. I'm more of an NBA guy myself, not huge on the NCAA, but March
There's
Madness.
nobody
is-
in Texas anyway.
March Madness. Yeah, everyone in Texas because we care about football.
That's true.
Until March Madness. And then everyone's a fan. Doesn't even matter if you watch 5 seconds or whatever.
But I really am interested because you got number 2 UK going against number 5 Duke.
Yeah.
It's early on. Anything can happen, obviously.
And this could determine a lot of ranking because
Oh, absolutely.
whoever wins and loses this game is going to go down depending on how good they played or how poorly. So
Absolutely.
this is huge.
And honestly though, I need the Tar Heels because being a Tar Heel fan in Kentucky is hard. So because there's just you guys bleed
And the whole
blue.
that and the whole Roy Williams issue that everyone makes fun of.
There's no issue there. He's the best coach of all time. But so anyway, I need the Heels to do something good for me so I can brag to some of the people in my office who like to make fun of my Tar Heel fandom. Anyway.
So, thank you for tuning in to this week's edition. As I said, watch NFL Week 11. There's some really good matchups. I would say the biggest key one, being unbiased, I would say Green Bay versus the Minnesota Vikings. So Green Bay Packers versus Minnesota Vikings. Watch that game. It's going to be a great game. Smash mouth football. I think Green Bay wins. I think they come out of their slump.
Okay, so Green Bay wins. You predict that. Do you think do the Panthers stay undefeated?
They are playing the
Washington.
Yeah, I don't because Kirk Cousins has played amazing and then terrible and amazing and terrible.
So what about New England? Do they stay undefeated?
And they're playing
Bills.
Bills. That's a hard game. Honestly, it really is because the Bills could honestly. I honestly think the Bills can beat the Patriots.
They
but
could.
They honestly.
I
they
hope
could.
they do. So I'm going to predict.
They have Tyrod Taylor, who's healthy again.
I'm going to predict an upset there. I'm going to say the Bills
Really?
beat the Patriots.
Wow,
Yeah. I'm going to go
bold.
with that. I'm going to say the Panthers hold at 9-0.
And honestly, who knows that the Vikings actually might be the favored in this game versus Green Bay. This might be the first time in a while the Vikings are favored.
Here's another prediction, and I know we got to go, but I'm going to say the Broncos come back and they find some life in Brock Osweiler.
Nice.
And we're going to see the birth of a new franchise quarterback.
No, that's awesome.
So and maybe the passing of another one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then let's see who else. The other big predictions of next week. I think
the Texans and Jets.
I think that's a tough one. I think the Texans can pull that out.
If they play once again, it comes down to their defense. If their offense can manage, time manage, and their defense can play spectacular, then that's how we win games.
What about the return of phony Slow-Mo as he faces the Dolphins in Week 11? Do they win? Is he the savior? Is he going to turn around their season?
They've lost so many close games. I'm saying they're winning this game. I really do.
The Cowboys.
Over
the Dolphins.
All over the Dolphins. The Dolphins beat us 41-0 in the first half. But I think honestly, Tony Romo they win with Tony Romo, and that's the fact. They can't win a game without him, and they win. They win 8 to 10 games with him a season. Every season, it's 8 to 10 games for them.
I'm taking Vikings over Packers.
Wow. I'm
saying they go on a 4-game slide.
Ouch.
I say Bengals go on a 2-game slide, and Cardinals over Bengals.
That's crazy. I go in Green Bay over Vikings. It'd be a great game. Cowboys over Dolphins.
I don't know what to call on that one.
And I'm not bold enough to say the Bills will win, so I'm still gonna give it to the Patriots.
I'm gonna pick. We'll talk about this. If you win, you can brag, but if I win, I'm gonna brag. I'm gonna say Bills over the Patriots.
I don't want to brag about the Patriots. I don't want to do that. But what I really want to do is
brag about being right.
Yeah, well, that's true.
About your vast sports knowledge.
Yeah, tell me about it. And of course, I'm gonna be Texans over Jets, and hopefully Falcons over the Colts.
No, I'm gonna predict Colts over Falcons. 49 points this time. Actually, there's going to be a 2-point conversion somehow thrown in there.
Safety.
Yeah, and Ryan Tannehill is going to be playing for the. They're going to pick him up, and he's going to get a safety.
I'm calling already four games in a row that Ryan Tannehill is going to have a safety.
Yeah, and T.Y. Hilton, don't forget, 47 points. 49, 2 more from safety.
Devontae Freeman's going to have at least 3 touchdowns.
No, he's not.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns. Calling it right now.
I don't care as long as they lose. I don't know if I'm playing against Devontae Freeman. That's a whole nother wrinkle.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. He's gonna do great because the Colts don't have a defense. So, all right, that concludes everything.
And the rebirth, the reassertion of what's his face over there?
And Brock.
No, the quarterback situation with the Colts.
Matt Hasselbeck.
No, wait.
It's Hasselbeck.
Wait,
Luck's injured.
Luck's still. He's not getting the start.
I don't think so. He's out for 2 to 6 weeks.
Good for the bye after the bye.
I didn't hear anything on that.
This changes everything.
Hey, check that out.
I can't start Hilton with Hasselbeck.
Well, he was out.
But
he said he's a lacerated. I think it's spleen.
For real?
Yeah,
That's right. He did. I saw the play. He got folded in half.
Yeah,
and it was
in the fourth quarter of the Peyton Manning.
It was a slaughter.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
He's out for
all
2 to
about
6
that.
weeks.
Okay, so do I start Demaryius Thomas with Brock Osweiler under center, or do I start T.Y. Hilton with Hasselbeck under center? That's a tough call.
No, Broncos are playing who again?
The Broncos are playing the Bears, who have a pretty bad defense.
I would go Demaryius Thomas.
But the
Falcons are better defense than the Bears.
No, the Falcons are they? I thought they had like a bottom 10.
Well, Bears might be bottom 3.
Man, that's going to be a tough one.
It's both terrible defenses. Both guys could go off.
Yeah, anything.
Who knows?
All righty.
All right. That wraps it up. I'm Braden T. He's Kleinstein. Please join us next week at 4 Eastern, 3 Central to listen to Week 11's edition of Inside the Park with Braden T. Kleinstein and Friends. Good night, everybody.
You're listening to WACW, Wilmore, Kentucky.